John, as you know, we're getting loads of messages because it's Alex's first time with us.
Yep.
A few of the questions are saying, what was Philippe Clement like to work with? Because we
was
didn't ever
great.
really get to know him. What was he like?
I absolutely thought he was tremendous. I was talking to his prior to coming on.
Yep.
His work ethic was second to none. He was first in, last out every single day. His attention to detail was second to none as well. And I've only got a huge amount of respect for Philippe. I thought he was a great guy. And unfortunately, when he came in, for me, it was probably a real transitional period where, if you think about the players who went out in the summer, Connor Golson, Lundstrom, Borna Barisic, and there'll be a kind of argument to say that they were kind of coming towards the end of their time. KMR Roof guys that had actually done well to get them to Seville and won the league title a couple of years ago. And what they were trying to do was they were trying to get to a place where they were trying to kind of get a sustainable model where you were buying younger players and then develop them, doing similar to what Celtic do really. But in doing that, they took a hell of a lot of experience out of the camp as well. And these guys were kind of learning on the ground, so I think there's a balance to be had, and I think they actually went too far to actually getting rid of all that experience.
Too much change.
Yeah, but listen, it was needed as well because obviously the wage budget was reduced considerably in the summer.
Alex, you've been asked here, do the current Rangers team have the mentality to play and win for Rangers? It's a good question.
Yeah, and I think it's a very valid question because until they actually start winning something, then that will be what's labelled at you. And so people talk about playing for the old firm, you need a winning mentality. That only comes by winning silverware. So, obviously, as I said at the weekend, I think when you think about some of the boys that they brought in, Jeff Day, Diomande was signed permanently, then you have Eagleman. So there was a lot. Connor Barron was brought in as well as a young twit. So they're all young boys. So they really need to find their feet. I wouldn't have expected them to be hitting the ground running and being like 9 out of 10 every week. And when you went to Celtic, you were quite experienced. When I got there, I was kind of more or less finished. Yeah. So I had a wealth it was, but I was at that wealth experience. But within that group, then you had a lot of guys running about the mid-20s, 26, 27, 28, who could navigate through a championship. They could go to Hibs, they could go to Dundee, they could go to Hearts, Aberdeen, and then get the results required. They need that time to actually get there, but they also need support as well. And I think in the summer, if this takeover happens, I would expect a few people to compliment what these young boys are trying to do, because it's very difficult to come into a club for these young guys. Now, the counter argument will be that there's guys like Butland, Tavernier, guys who have got a wee bit more experience. So they need to try and find that winning mentality, but you have to go away and find a way to try and get that away form sorted, because if you don't get the away form sorted, it becomes more difficult.